and I'm not hearing any music. Kevin, okay. Hello and welcome to Insecurity Live, the only podcast that asks the question, are we currently on the air? I'm your host, Spencer Crittenden, and joined by me as always is Kevin Day, coming to you live from parts unknown. How's it going, Kevin?
I'm doing pretty good. Oops, I got unspotlight you too. I'm doing pretty good. I'm coming to you from an undisclosed location, and yes, I completely missed that sound cue, but we're going now.
That's good. It's fine. It's just sometimes, sometimes there's the thing where we can't hear it for some reason because something is broken, but the audience can. So yeah, it's great. Kevin's a tech genius, and he's built this whole ship himself. And I can't see the ship. I just have to believe it's there, or question whether it's there constantly to his chagrin. But we're not here to question Kevin. We're here to question our guest. I should have fucking asked how he wanted to be introduced. God damn it. You know him from Rude Tales of Magic. Oh, those stars of space. I feel like I said that wrong.
You nailed it.
Okay, I nailed it, and I'm still nailing it, and I will continue to nail it. And it's important to talk about myself during his introduction. Joe Lepore is here, everybody. How's it going?
It's going great, Spencer. How are you?
I'm doing good. I just bought a pool noodle because I keep wanging my leg on my bed frame, and I need to protect my delicate shins from that hard metal. But otherwise,
the pool noodle was the solution.
Yeah, it turns out there's like a very pool noodle inner hole sized bed frame that I think I can kind of cut it open, wrap it, and yeah, it's like I'm baby proofing my house, but I'm the baby,
Did you think about getting those soft tubes they use to like keep drafts out of from getting under a door?
Ooh, yeah. I didn't think about that.
I just feel like a pool noodle. Like if I'm in bed, I want like cushion. I want fabric. I want softness.
Yeah, pool noodles are soft, right? They're foam.
Yeah, but they also. I don't know that I want to be like. I don't know that I want to think about a pool when I'm in bed.
Yeah. Well, it's a water bed, so I can't help it. Those still exist, right?
I think they do.
Yeah. So not how am I doing? How are you doing?
I'm doing great, man. I'm doing great.
Living the dream.
Yeah. My dog was just cleared from rabies quarantine. So things are great.
Yeah, that's scary. Was that scary?
It was no, I mean, it was only scary. It was only scary at like 3 a.m. Because like the animal control officer called me. What happened was, listeners, there was a bat in my house.
Wow.
And I stepped on the bat. Which was, I don't want to. I don't know who deserves more blame, me or the bat, but it was a bad move for both of us. I had to get rabies shots, which got me on the attention of the county board of health, who then called me, and then when I acknowledged that I had a dog, they were like, "Well, when there's a bat in the house and a dog in the house, the dog goes on rabies quarantine no matter what." And my dog was, of course, vaccinated against rabies, but it's just, part of the procedure. And the animal control officer was like, it's going to be 45 days. So, and this was in August, and she was like, yeah, so in October 11th, I'll come by and confirm your dog doesn't have rabies, and then he'll be good to go. And then it was a pretty by the book lady. It wasn't a long phone call. So then I had like 45 days of like, well, he sure doesn't seem like he has rabies to me, but like when this lady shows up, I don't know what she's gonna do. I don't know if she's like, if she's gonna like, shine some light under his eyes and be like, sorry, we have to kill him.
Yeah.
But she came by Friday morning and looked at him for 3 seconds and was like, I've seen all I need to see. Have a nice day. But yeah, up until that moment, there was a very tiny part of me that was like, oh God.
Yeah, you don't want to put other people's, or sorry, you don't want to put animals in the hands of government authorities if you
Of
can
the
help it. I've
state.
found. Yeah.
No.
So I've heard bad things about getting rabies shots. I've heard like they're very painful and bad. Was it like worse than a normal shot, or was it like what was that like?
It was so as a shot, it was fine. The thing is, the first time you go, um, I had you get an amount of vaccine based on your weight.
Mm.
And not the most flattering thing, but folks, I had to get 7 shots the first time.
Wow.
They put one on my arm and they put 3 in each thigh.
Oh.
And I came home and like literally the band-aids on my legs looked like I had been attacked by the Wolverine. Um, at one point there was like, I would say the 5th shot, um, there was a little coming out after she injected me, and I said, "Is that an issue?" And the nurse looked at me and said, "Honey, I'm putting so much in you."
Yeah, it's I want to say I've heard that it's normal to get 6 shots. So 7 doesn't
So I got
seem.
that one extra, folks.
Yeah,
I
that's not that
gotta
bad.
work down until I'm in the 6th rabies shot. I gotta do some crunches and get back in the 6 threshold.
That's the new like that's the new way we determine instead of
Yeah.
they're getting rid of BMI I hear, and now it's the rabies
Rabies
shot
shot?
standard. But okay, so I like to ask a question to all of our guests. I got this trick from NPR actually. What did you have for breakfast?
What a good day to ask this question. I had uh I had um bacon,
Nice,
sausage,
nice,
chocolate chip pancake,
awesome.
blueberry pancake,
Wow.
lemon poppy seed pancake
Whoa.
with a glass of like carrot, ginger, kale, apple juice,
Okay,
freshly blended.
and I have to ask, so this was a restaurant meal?
No, this is my fucking sister-in-law.
Wow. That
They go
is
crazy.
Yeah, that's delightful. Three styles of pancakes. Now,
Yeah.
was this the same pancake dough set or batter separated with mix-ins added, or do you think these were like 3 separate like whips up?
That was the case of the like blueberry and chocolate chip pancakes.
Mhm.
The lemon poppy seed pancakes was a very different batter that I believe involved Greek yogurt.
Ooh, man, I'm gonna have to look that up. That sounds delightful. Um, I guess let's go around. Kevin, what about you? What do you have for breakfast?
Sometimes I want to say
Um,
sometimes it's like a banana. You
Yeah.
know, I'm not living this life.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. Yeah. I hope our listeners didn't get that impression. It sounds like unless you live with your like sister, in law,
don't.
then yeah,
Don't.
it sounds like a very special occasion, if anything.
Yeah.
But Kevin, go ahead.
I have not eaten anything yet today.
Jesus Christ,
Whoa.
and he's in your time zone too.
No fucking way. Kevin, eat.
I was going to before the show, but then I kind of ran out of time because I was having trouble with the tech setup here. So I will get something to eat, I promise, after the show's over.
Well, maybe.
Kevin, did you sleep in?
No, I
I
actually
hope
was
so.
up like at 6 a.m.
Oh
So,
my
yeah.
God.
I
And
mean,
that's not
Kevin,
normal for Kevin.
breakfast is the most important meal of the day, but lunch and dinner are also important, and you've kind of missed the window for all of them.
Yeah,
I have.
I think breakfast is the most important meal of the day. Is like shorthand for eating is important, and breakfast is like one of the first opportunities. And Kevin's just blown past all of it. But so Kevin's been doing some moonlighting, trying to get people to subscribe to my Patreon, and he lets slip that if someone subscribes to his my Patreon, that he will drink a crazy beverage. And so I think, as no offense, Joe, but as housekeeping, I think we gotta just knock this out so we can really bust into the interview, if that's okay. Are you comfortable with that?
I just want to say that if Kevin hasn't eaten anything yet today and he's going to drink a crazy beverage right now, like we don't know what the consequences are. I'm okay if Kevin's okay, but like that could cause a blood sugar spike.
We've done so much worse on this show. I got to be honest with you. Like, this is probably one of the least weird things I have tried on this show.
That's
Cool.
not true. That's not true. Kevin's going to drink a enchilada flavored soda. And I agree with Joe in that I told him, you need to eat before this. This is insane. Don't do this. But it hits his bed.
I posted something in our Discord and said, hey, if someone signs up for Spencer's Patreon, I will, like, I took a picture. There's a store near me that had all kinds of crazy drinks. And this is one of Lester's fixins that we've actually had on the show before. I don't know who Lester is, but he needs to stop.
Yeah, he's a bad man.
This is bad. He had ranch dressing. We've had bacon. We had cucumber.
I'm reading the tagline here, and it looks like the tagline is, y'all get your fixin'.
Yes. Now, he actually does have, I don't know if this is his wife or his sister or what, but Melba's fixins actually are reasonably decent. This is blueberry pie, which is okay. It's not good, but it's okay.
Well, that's the thing. I think the Melba's fixins are not worse, but it's more like, oh, this will taste like something, and it still tastes awful. Like there's no winning with these.
Lester's getting in there.
Yeah, at least Lester's like, you know what's up.
Yeah, Lester just goes for disgusting, like the grass and the sweet corn and stuff like that. That's Lester's thing.
Yeah,
black olive. I actually got a black olive too. I'm gonna send that to Steve Levy. But okay, so I've opened the enchilada, and again, this is to support Spencer here. This is sort of like, I feel like Jerry Lewis right now in a telethon. You know, like I'm awake for 20 hours straight trying to get people to sign up. Please sign up for Spencer's Patreon, so I don't need to keep doing this. And
by the way, if you want Kevin to drink a crazy beverage, you're gonna have to sign up at a higher tier. Like we can't put Kevin through this. This is wild.
Right. And I'll be honest, I didn't actually verify that anyone signed up for your Patreon today, so I may have gotten stamped. Okay. It smells like
an enchilada.
It does actually. It smells like enchilada sauce. Like you know the packets of enchilada sauce that you can like use as like sort of like a marinade, kind of like you need to mix into other things first. It smells like a packet of enchilada sauce that has not yet been made. And all right, let me taste it here. Oh, that's not good. Okay, so imagine if you took equal parts enchilada, like red enchilada sauce and orange Fanta, and mix them together and put them in a drink. That's what Lester has made here.
So Kevin, for me, what comes to mind there is puke. What you're describing is vomit.
Yeah.
Well, they actually had vomit. They had like pimple popping. They had all these other flavors that I did not put in the picture of choices because I didn't want them to pick. It does sort of have that acidic bile though that I agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
What is that? Butyric acid, I think.
Yes. It's like, yeah. This is
Feta
not good.
Cheese has it. Yeah, of course it's not good. That was arguably the point.
No, and it's got a little hint of spice to it, but it still tastes a lot like orange soda though too. Like if you were to take some like cayenne pepper and some chili pepper and stuff like that into orange soda. Yeah, so that's not good. Please sign up to Spencer's Patreon, and I'll get something better.
Do you think you're going to finish it?
There is no way in this world I could finish this. It is that bad. And I finished a lot of things. Like Spencer can verify. We've had some crazy stuff on the show, and
Kevin can handle it way more than we can. Like we could never handle it very well. And Kevin's very positive. He's very upbeat. One of the weird things about these Lester's Fixins is they are very sweet. So, I mean, I'm not going to say that I would enjoy a savory enchilada soda, but like, I don't know, it would maybe hit like a Bloody Mary or something. I could actually see like something tomatoey kind of working, but then it's just so sweet. It's like ranch dressing, but incredibly sweet. And it's like, that's just vile. It makes me want to throw up just thinking about it. But
Lester's Fixins so bad, even a starving man won't finish it.
Yeah, exactly.
It's water, sugar, citric acid, and then soybean oil, which is not a normal beverage. I think that adds to the mouthfeel to it though a little bit, because it feels thick, not like a normal soda kind of thick. Like it's got a to it, you know, kind of like a
greasiness.
Yeah,
that's upsetting. And I don't know why you did that, but I appreciate the work you put in, Kevin, every day. Thank you so much, and thank you to the Patreon or the patron. But don't if this is what is going to take to get people to sign up, don't sign up. It's fine. Like it's fine. Anyway,
No, I will go through all of Lester's Fixins until everyone has signed up for your Patreon, if that's what it takes.
I don't want that to happen. That sounds bad. Okay. So Joe, you like food, right? New York's a pretty good food city.
I eat.
Yeah. Do you like New York as a food city? Like do you like I don't know. People always go back and forth like is LA better than New York? I don't know. My personal opinion is that New York is a better food city, but I think they're not too far off.
Well, I think, they have their strengths and their weaknesses.
Mm-hmm.
You're definitely getting better Mexican in LA. There's no debate there. I don't know if you've heard about our water.
Yeah.
But our water really, really ups like pretty much all breads, not just pizza dough, not just bagels. Really helps out. And I love bread.
Yeah.
I'm pro gluten, so I really appreciate it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love the water. Like whenever I go to New York, I'm just pounding water from the hotel sink and stuff because it's just really good. LA kind of has famously bad water, and especially LA itself isn't necessarily the worst, but the greater LA area is like really bad.
Yeah.
Sometimes you open it up and there's just like black dust pouring out and stuff. Very, very vile. But yeah. So do you cook at all? Do you like cooking? Is that something? I mean, I feel like in New York it's like so cheap to eat out compared to LA. Everything's really expensive here.
I cook. It mustn't everyone. Um, I cook. I'm not like I. Here's the thing. I would say I'm more when I what I like to make. I end up more of a baker than a cook. Like I cook dinner out of necessity. But like if I'm making something for fun, I'm not going to say like I'm going to make this like complicated dinner that's going to take me all day. If I'm going to make something that's kind of a project, it's probably going to be a pie or a cake or something or an interesting cookie. I there's something about the pressure of like working for a long time to pull off a dinner
Mhm.
and have it not go well and be hungry and be
Yeah.
disappointed in yourself and
Mhm.
also sorry to the people that you served it to that really hits me hard. And also when you're baking, you can focus on the one thing. I feel like dinner, one of the hardest things about dinner is the time management of like uh a main and sides and making sure the vegetable and the protein are all ready at the same time. Um so I make a dinner, but like I'm not taking crazy swings all the time.
Yeah, for sure. I totally know what you mean. Do you have any things that you prefer to bake? Do you have any like aces in the hole, so to speak? Anything you bust out for? I don't even know if we do potlucks these days, but that
Mm.
sort of situation.
Yeah, um I have a go-to, like I spent time figuring out and finding my ideal chocolate chip cookie,
Hmm.
which I've kind of perfected in my opinion. Um, the secret ingredient is powdered milk,
Okay, I like this. That's
and
so
there's
interesting.
and there's kosher salt in the cookie dough, and then they're finished after they come out of the oven with like Maldon flake salt.
Mm. Wow.
Um, and I like it. It's a soft bake. They're great. I get a lot of compliments, Spencer. I get a lot of compliments on these cookies.
If you're
Um,
finishing with flake salt, I bet you are. But man,
It sounds very similar to my chocolate chip cookies, but I use browned butter, which is I don't like
sure.
nobody else does. And that really adds something too. But yeah, I agree. The powdered milk and the flaked salt on the top makes the cookie 100%.
I've never even heard of powdered milk. So you said soft bake. Does that mean you're chilling the butter? Because isn't soft bake kind of hard to achieve?
It well, yeah. I mean, it depends. There's a lot of how you're working with the butter can make a lot of difference. If people like to chill overnight or even freeze a dough,
Mhm.
um, what I do involves um, I melt the butter and then I let the melted butter get close to room temperature.
Oh, that's so interesting because I melt the butter and then I just pop it all in the oven and stuff. And I find, and maybe it's not just that, maybe there's other aspects too, but I find my cookies usually come out pretty hard and crunchy, which a lot of people don't like. Personally, I like the crispy stuff and I'm usually just making cookies for myself, but that's interesting. So you,
That's
you seem
great.
like
If
a
you
real
find if you
alchemist.
find what works for your cookie, Spencer, like live your life. Like
Mhm.
that's amazing. I'm so happy for you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I know what you mean in terms of cooking a dinner. Like I usually like just cooking like one dish. And I
Hmm.
usually like to, I'm more of an experimenter. So I like to eat and then
Hmm.
go, here's the recipe. I'm gonna cook it and I'm gonna try and fuck it up, honestly. Like I'll take big swings and see how it fails, and that teaches me a lot. And then usually the second or third
Mm,
time I really knock it out. And I've like
hmm.
learned so much about the whole process.
Hmm.
But like if I'm not eating and I'm depending on the meal to actually work out, terrible. I'm
Yeah,
getting
yeah,
hungrier, more stressed. It comes out. I start crying. It's just a
yeah,
terrible situation.
yeah. I really like I subscribe to the New York Times recipe app. Um so I love to get a good sheet pan meal
Mm,
in there, where everything can be ready at once. Once it gets on the pan, you're done and you can just you know, you set the table, get things, once it's in, like nothing else can go wrong. You're like,
yeah, that's awesome. For breakfast, I made some scallion oil noodles, which is a recipe I'm trying to figure out. But it's not necessarily a very breakfasty breakfast. But hey, um,
well, it's more of an Eastern breakfast.
yeah. I feel like, yeah. I wonder how cold they're normally served. I don't know. I'm
Mm.
just doing a lot of TikTok recipes these days. And those they lie. And they're like, this is great. And it's like, this isn't like, and it's not that I messed it up. It's just that you're just saying like a recipe for hits and it doesn't matter if it's good or not. And most people don't
Hmm.
even try it. They just go, this is great. But anyway, I'd like to talk about your earlier life. Is that okay?
Yeah, let's go for
Okay, so in middle school ish age, where were you growing up? Where were you?
it. Well, this we can use this can segue into an interesting story because I grew up I grew up in a same house my whole, the house I came home from the hospital in as a newborn is the house I graduated from high school in on the South Shore of Massachusetts, just south of Boston. And my mom moved out of that house about 10 years ago, and a few months ago, uh my wife discovered that it is now an Airbnb. So we went and stayed in my childhood home a
Wow.
couple, in May.
Hmm. How what do you call it? How obviously it's way different, but like did they do major like reconstruction or anything, or was it just kind of differently furnished?
They made it an Airbnb.
Yeah.
They like there's yeah, that's all you can really, it's like they made big choices. They took really big swings in some areas, and then they like clearly ran out of money in other areas.
Hmm.
Um, and they just made it like a home that is less usable for a person to live in regularly.
Right.
They ripped out a ton of cabinets in the kitchen and replaced them with like some shelves, some open shelves where like the bowls are visible, but it only
Hmm.
three bowls, where there
Yeah.
used to be an entire cabinet, that kind of
Right.
thing.
Yeah.
Um, there were in both bathrooms, they basically, yeah, they like where the toilet was is now where the shower is, and where the shower was the toilet now is.
Wow. Was
Which
that
is
good?
like, why did you go to the trouble? Um, is what did this really achieve beyond like making me feel weirdly sad about a bathroom?
Yeah, that's probably what they're going for.
Yeah, they want me to play like cats in the cradle looking at this toilet. Um, but then like meanwhile, like like the TV in the living room is on a stool because clearly they like ran out of cash to like buy a TV stand,
Hmm.
you know?
Yeah.
So there was a lot of that stuff that was just like, yeah, they changed a lot and it doesn't really make sense, but like they have made it their own for sure. And then like, you know, my wife, who's never been in this home because we started dating like 3 months after my mother moved out of this house, she
Mm.
walks up the stairs and like, of course, all the creaks in the stairs are the same creaks that I,
Oh,
that
yeah.
I heard, my entire life, and like immediately like a shiver goes, goes down my spine.
That's wild.
Yeah.
So how are we feeling about Airbnb? It's in the news these days. It's political. You come down one way or another. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, I think, it's funny because I think obviously like it has gone too far.
mhm.
I think in a lot of places it has like affected the real estate market badly for the people that live there. I
Yeah,
think
like in
also
LA.
yeah, I think also like at the same time it is useful. There are times where like you want to be able you want or need to be able to rent a house for what you're doing.
Especially longer term, I think it makes the most sense. Things that are like a bit like
Yeah.
not priced at hotels, but a bit longer term. I
Yeah.
think that they're a great option.
Yeah.
Um,
We have
yeah.
on for Rude Tales, most of us live in the New York area, and then Branson lives in LA now. So we often will fly him out to record for a week in Brooklyn.
Mhm.
And I don't live in the city right now. I live in New Jersey.
Mm.
So usually when we do that week, like I will come and stay in Brooklyn for the week too. And um, they've really cracked down on Airbnbs in the city, which is good. But also for us, we're staying in Brooklyn, like everyone, our only commitments are recordings at night,
Mhm.
and the rest of the day is free. But everyone we know is working their jobs all day. There's not like a
Right.
lot to do.
Yeah.
So like the last one we ended up staying in hotels for a week, but it was kind of like, well, this isn't what a hotel is good for.
And New York hotels are pretty small and expensive, right? Like
Yes.
compared to I feel like in New York it's like even a worse proposition compared
Yeah.
to like other things. So Airbnb seems like it fits better even almost. But I have this theory. I think that Airbnbs should offer breakfast because it's in the name, like
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
think like that it doesn't have to be much. Just have like a cereal box in there or
Yeah.
something. I think it could cut down on a lot of these, predatory
And
situations.
and I have to say, for better or for worse, Airbnb let me spend like 3 nights in my childhood home, three surreal and not emotional nights in my childhood home. But I wouldn't get the chance to do that otherwise if, you know, unless there was that option, I wouldn't have been able to do it.
Yeah, no,
And for all,
yeah, go ahead.
for as weird as it was really cool to get to show my wife. Um, you know, it put like, it was able to, I was able to be like, this is where it all happened. This is where I became me.
Yeah.
Um, so I don't know.
I think it's also that seems like one of the best possible outcomes for Airbnb. I think in Joshua Tree, there's like an Airbnb that's a house that's like an escape room, also. Like it has puzzles all throughout it. And that also seems like one of the best possible outcomes for
Hmm.
it. So I think there's hits and misses. I mean, regulation can be better in all aspects of everything, I guess. But yeah, maybe
Sure.
that's the thing. I have a friend who's staying out here for 2 months in an Airbnb. that's like, I guess, cheaper and more for long term. It's almost like a short term apartment rental or something.
Sure.
That also seems like something that maybe has a place. It's just not. It's just not a like a way overpriced like bachelor pad hotel room that's like pricing out occupants in an apartment building sort of thing. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
But so yeah, it's interesting. I would love to stay in my childhood home as an Airbnb. That sounds delightful, honestly. But so what were you like? You said this is where you became you. What were you like becoming you at school and such?
Yeah, so it was my town is a tiny skinny 7 mile peninsula that sticks into Boston Harbor. So it was literally surrounded by the ocean. I grew up at the very tip of it.
Wow.
I was literally like it was like my house and then like four houses and then like the very very tip was my high school.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I was like the only when I was going there, I was the only kid who walked to school because pretty much my entire neighborhood was summer people. So like my neighborhood would be like June, July, August packed, and then September to the end of May, a ghost town. Truly like, several successive blocks of empty houses and
Wow.
just sort of wandering around. I was an only child, so yeah, it was I was I was left alone to a lot. I was a latchkey kid, and no surprise, but like a big fucking nerd.
Yeah, how'd you nerd out?
A lot of comic books.
Nice.
A lot of comic books. A lot of television. I loved like, I was into comedy from a very early age and into just binging, SNL reruns and Simpsons reruns and, and, I was left alone a lot of the time. So, I got to do that a lot.
Yeah, I liked a lot of comedy when I was a kid, but for me, there's just some mental block where I don't think like, oh, these people that are doing comedy, they're real people. I was like, those are the people that do comedy, and I'm another person. Like, was that something that you had in mind at an early age? Like, this is something I could do, this is something I'm moving towards, or when did that come about?
Well, I think, I was definitely, probably because I was like, in a pretty like lonely place a lot of the time. I was pretty extroverted, and that got me towards like doing like drama programs and stuff early on.
Sure. Yeah.
And then doing like community theater.
Awesome.
Starting in like I think like fourth grade.
Any memorable productions that you were involved with?
Yeah, we did my first juicy role was like I was in fifth grade and our local community theater did this like it was like a parody of the Alfred Hitchcock film Dial M for Murder, and it was called Touchstone M for Murder, and it was like it was like a murder mystery at like an old like a rickety old seaside resort, and like all the suspects were the guests in the hotel, and I was like an adorable child who turned out to be in the play like a hired actor for like one of the like ancillary ruses that was going on. So that was like my first chance to like really like act.
Yeah.
And it was also like a very an experience where like I was just hanging out with adults a lot. 'Cause it was like 3 months of rehearsals and then like a couple weeks of performances, and it was just like there was like one other kid in the cast, and it was just like us and the adults.
Yeah.
So
my ex co-host, I guess he's technically still on the poster, so maybe he could come back. But no falling out or anything. He was a child actor on Broadway and stuff, and he kind of reports similar things where you're surrounded by like adults and they're treating you like an adult, at
Yeah.
least on Broadway, I guess. Was it like that where they were like, hey, don't miss your marks, or
It wasn't like, I mean, it wasn't Broadway. So no one was
Right.
like, there weren't those kind of egos. Everyone was pretty like nice and everyone was, more or less there to have a good time.
Yeah.
But it was definitely, it was just like, you were one of the cast. And that was
Mm.
very cool to be like, oh, I'm 11. And all these, for the first time maybe ever, like all of these people are treating me, you know, like a peer.
Yeah,
Um,
it's got to be super validating.
yeah. And so that, like, into middle school and then into high school, like, I did a lot of um, I did a bunch of like the plays and musicals in high school because that was the outlet that was there for me.
Mhm.
My high school theater director was a psycho, a true psycho. Um, and I'm sure they all are, but like this guy was really high strung. And so I ended up, by the end of high school, I had drifted away from a lot of that and I had gotten really into speech and debate, which was what I did was called humorous interpretation, where you take a 10-minute snippet of any published work, be it a book, a play, a screenplay, a teleplay, um, and you perform it. You perform all of the characters yourself, um, competing against other high schoolers for trophies. Um, and so that was a chance to be funny in front of people and have like basically total creative control.
Yeah.
Which very quickly was like, oh, why am I in Hello Dolly when I could instead be doing this and get to like actually do things that I think are funny and make other people laugh and you know I win trophies. And
Yeah.
so um there was a specific um the last thing I did was the last like musical I did was my junior year. We did Scrooge, and I went to the auditions, I went to the callbacks. Everyone got everyone got excused except me and my good friend Sean. Um and my psycho theater director said to us, we've been going back and forth. We can't decide which one of you is going to be Scrooge, the lead of the musical, and which one is going to be Marley. So I'd like the two of you to step out into the hall and discuss amongst yourselves, and then you can each come back in here and tell us which role you would prefer.
Wow.
Which is not fair to put on like a 16-year
Yeah,
old and a 17-year-old. And
absolutely.
Sean was a senior. I was a junior. Sean was a senior. It felt inappropriate. It was like, well, I'm not gonna step on your toes here. This is like you're much more invested in this than I ever was, and I'm not. And this isn't like my last hurrah. So like, I'm not gonna do this. I also think this sucks that he's making us do this. Um, so I ended up as Jacob Marley in that show. And I had a song where I haunt Scrooge, and in that song I fly, or at least in our production I flew. Um, and during one of the performances, um, I like under my costume I'm wearing like a harness that then is like clipped in behind my back to a wire that then will pull me up, dragging my
Wow.
chains
Yeah.
into the sky as I haunt Scrooge. But during one of the performances, they when they clipped me in, though they accidentally clipped my shirt collar to
It,
they clipped my shirt collar along with the harness.
oh God.
So when I was pulled up into the air, it I was hung basically. Um, and it took my friend Sean Scrooge noticing and running off stage and telling them to put me down, to save my life.
Wow.
And after that, I was like, I think I'm taking a break from the musicals.
Yeah. That's horrifying.
Yeah.
Wire work in high
Yeah.
school. That's not what I would expect. I guess I didn't see a lot of our musical show productions at our school, but I can't imagine they did wire work. I mean, maybe they did, who knows? But so did you go to college or anything?
I did. And I went to Fordham, which is here in New York. And I like, I had been performing in some way or another, for a long time by that point. And like third week of school, I auditioned for the Fordham improv team and did not get picked.
Wow.
And then but then the next day I auditioned for the brand new Fordham sketch comedy team and got on. And that was I've been like mainly a sketch person kind of ever since. I at the end of my freshman year, I became the director, and I ran the sketch team for the next 3 years of college, and by God, they're still going to this day.
What did the sketch? Did that program have a name or anything?
Yes, it's called Free Pizza because that's how you get college students to come to anything.
Did they have free pizza? I mean,
No.
obviously that's the
No.
joke, but yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. It would undercut the joke probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you've done sketch mostly. You're in a group called the Nitro Girls, or you've worked with them, right?
I am. So sadly, the Nitro Girls, we just had our final show at the end of July.
Wow.
But we had been together for 7 years.
Wow.
And they're a great team. So I did sketch with Free Pizza all through college, directing and performing and writing, which is really like incredible chance to like get to do comedy and get to learn how to do comedy and take big risks and kind of always have a good house and get a lot of reps early on. And then when I got out of college, I started taking classes and then joining teams at the Magnet Theater here in New York. And then I got to perform for no audience and really learn how to bomb, how to overcome bombing, how to get better because of bombing or performing for no one. And so I started at the Magnet in 2011, and I started getting on teams in like 2012. And I was on an improv house team at the Magnet in 2012 and 2013. Then got cut from improv, which is funny because I improvise on a podcast all the time. But I've been doing sketch at the Magnet basically since then, and I've been on teams and directed teams at the Magnet for like the last 12 years. And it just kind of came to an end, Spencer.
Yeah, that's an end of an era.
Yeah.
I mean, it's good. Like, it's an interesting arc. It's, I fell ass backwards into this or whatever, and I feel very out of my depth. I'm taking Improv 101 right now at UCB.
Nice.
And yeah, I need to get in reps at failing and stuff and figure that out, or give up, I guess. I don't know. I'm fucked, my man. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. It's not
Who's your
good.
teacher?
Well, Tony Charlene's the teacher, except the first 2 weeks we haven't had her. We've had a substitute named Mike. He has a last name, I promise, but I could not tell you what it is. I can't remember. But yeah,
I
so
know
I'm
of Tony Charlene, but I don't know her
yeah,
specifically.
yeah, I heard her on the Doughboys podcast, and I was like, hey, that sounds great. What a good way into the improv biz or something. Who doesn't love Doughboys?
Yeah.
But it's yeah, I'm terrified. I'm terrified. I'm an imposter. I don't have
What are you
imposter
terrified
syndrome.
of?
Okay. So I feel like where I'm at right now, I
Uh-huh.
have like not a real reputation. My star's faded or whatever, but I think my like people know of me a little bit. Like not like, oh,
Uh-huh.
there goes Spencer, but it's like, oh, that's that guy from that thing. And like that name and where I'm at are like not at the right level, like because I haven't put in reps, I haven't failed, I haven't learned how to do stuff on my own. I've like been what do you call it, riding coattails, this whole time. And so I feel like I need to very quickly level up to about where people expect me to be, or I need to start over from scratch and just build my way up with the people on that level that I feel like I'm
Hmm.
at.
Hmm.
And that just feels like starting from scratch seems fine, but then I feel like people are like, "Oh, you're starting from scratch. Don't I know you from this? And you're only that good." And that's very intimidating. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but and I mean this when I say this, that's all in your head.
Yeah.
First of all, I'm sure just from like comedy experience aside, just from being like an accomplished DM,
Mm-hmm.
you're better than you know. Because you have
Thanks.
to do you don't when you're if you're improvising a scene, you just have to like be one character, man. You
Yeah.
know, when you're a
Yeah.
DM, you don't have to be like three different guys with three different agendas and be thinking about like setting up the next puzzle or whatever. Um, and they're not thinking the all the other people in the class are thinking that about themselves. They're not thinking about you.
Yeah, the class is fine. I'm not worried about the class. I like the class has been interesting just because I feel like there's a comfort that I have that
Yeah,
other people don't have that I think is
yeah,
really helpful for me. But at
yeah,
the same time, I'm like comparing my stuff to their stuff. And it's like these people who
yeah.
are, maybe abject beginners, like are naturally coming up with much funnier specifics. And so that's like humbling in a good way. But it's
Uh-huh.
like, man, I got a lot to learn. That's not what it's intimidating. I don't know. You're right. It is all in my head, but I think I can get through improv classes okay. It's just, I would like to do shows and perform and be good and be good enough to like get people to do my shows, like there's the Doughboys. I've been on the Doughboys podcast. Hypothetically,
Mhm.
someone who's been doing more stuff could have a show, could invite the Doughboys on, could perform with them on their level and stuff. And I just don't
Yeah.
feel capable of that. And that makes me feel like I don't even think I could ask them to do that. And that's just an example, but
Yeah.
do put this out to, everyone in the LA comedy scene and who even
Yeah.
knows. But
Yeah. I
it's
don't know. I feel like Mitch would do your show.
I think he probably would too. He's a very genuinely nice guy. But you mentioned DMing,
Hmm.
and you mentioned that you do D&D. So Rude Tales is like, it seems like it was this very organic kind of outgrowth of the way you were playing D&D, which
Yeah.
seemed very improv heavy and improv driven, like very
Yeah.
very fun. So I must admit I'm not actually familiar with those Stars of Space, but you are the DM.
Oh,
Is that still kind of yeah, you can
buckle
leave.
up.
You can leave if you want. It's fine. I'm sorry to
No, it's
disrespect you
okay.
like this.
It's
Uh,
okay. I'll just have to pitch.
yeah, yeah. But is it the same kind of vibe, or are you a bit of a, I don't know, more a stickler, or how is that?
I would say I'm the opposite of a stickler.
Mhm.
It is so unlike Rude Tales of Magic, available wherever you get your podcasts. Oh, these are the Stars of Space. Is which Rude Tales, for those that don't know, is a classic D&D campaign based podcast where we are telling longer serialized narratives. These those Stars of Space, which is the same cast, um is much more in the vein of classic original series Star Trek or Next Generation, much more episodic.
Right.
We're usually getting back to where we started by the end of the episode, and it's much more comedy focused. And within that, people can take much wilder swings because um, there won't be ramifications for like years of storytelling after usually.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's definitely, and because so the way it works is we have an style ship that the show takes place on, and the cast is not, it's not full attendance. It's usually like, on Rude Tales, every episode is myself, the amazing Tim Platt, the hilarious Carly Monardo, the brilliant Ali Fisher, the delicious Christopher Hastings, and that boy you love to hate, Branson Reese. Um, and so that we're all in every episode of Rude Tales virtually. In an episode of these, those it's me DMing and usually three of them in some configuration. But because the ship is traveling through space filled with hundreds of interesting alien crew members, they all play a dozen different characters. So if I say, so like, let's say like the next episode is Tim, Carly, and Chris, I will Slack them a few days before and say, which one of your incredible characters are you playing this week? And then we talk about it and they let me know, or I suggest based on what I have planned. And then so every episode you sort of see a different mix of some of the wacky folks that live on this beautiful starship.
That sounds like just such a great engine, like such a great story engine, such a great comedy engine, such a great podcast engine. Like that is brilliant. Like, did you put a lot of effort? I think there's an extent to which saying it's Star Trek kind of gives you a lot of like ideas to go off of. But do you think you put a lot of like effort into like building that to like set you up for success, or did it all just seem very natural?
Did I? I no. I mean, it was definitely like deliberate to do something different from Rude Tales. It was definitely deliberate to, it definitely was deliberate to do something that didn't have to be everyone every episode, to give us all, well, really, except for me, to give them all flexibility, while making a second show at the same time,
Right.
And to let it kind of be more comedy forward. It's very, it's sort of like, it's set on the elevator pitch would be like, it's set on the Enterprise, but it feels like Springfield. Where you're seeing all these characters, and now that everyone, we've been going for a couple of years now, and everyone sort of has a stable of characters, so we can like, even if I only, if I have three cast members playing three characters and they're sort of like maining those characters for the episode, they're also bringing in their other characters for bits, and throwaway lines, someone walks into the room and whatever, beams down to a planet for one line and then beams up.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And so it's like, Rude Tales, is a very funny show in my opinion, but also definitely can like bring in horror and pathos and character arcs that extend over dozens of episodes. And those is much more like, listen to the episodes in every order. They're all funny, but like pick your poison and go nuts.
Yeah, that just sounds like a lot of fun. So
it's sort of, I don't know if you're familiar with like a West Marches campaign in Dungeons and Dragons.
I guess I thought I was, until you phrase it like that, and I was like, I guess it's not just like a campaign in a place, huh?
Yeah, well, I think like it's used a lot for when a group isn't necessarily going to like have that full attendance every session, where you can sort of say like, come or not, but if you are, your character who lives in this town can participate in the adventure. If you can't make it, then you miss that one, And so that's something that we were definitely like thinking about when we were structuring the show.
Yeah. And so it seems like rules might be pretty loose. Do you have like what system do you have?
They won't tell me, Spencer.
Yeah. So it's like everything's like censored.
they keep referring to something called the Masquerade, but they won't tell me anymore. No, we use a game called Lasers and Feelings, which is a free one-page game. And basically every character picks a number, and every skill check involves rolling a six-sided die. And if you want a lasers roll, which is action or science based check, you want to roll low, you want to roll below your number. And if it's your feelings, if you're trying to like persuade or intimidate or charm someone, you want to roll high. And that is really great for the flow of then turning it into a produced, sound designed, scored podcast episode without people flipping through rule books to double check the grapple rules and what have you.
Yeah, quick resolution.
Yeah.
You did mention the Masquerade, and I did see on your website that you don't like Vampire the Masquerade. I invented Vampire the Masquerade. No, but do you have any experience with World of Darkness games at all, or is it just like you read the book and you're like, Jesus Christ,
We played Vampire the Masquerade once on Rude Tales as a bonus episode early on, and that is my sole experience. But yeah, I think I got what I needed.
Yeah. Not a fan of tick-based combat, huh?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's just like, it depends on what you're there for.
Yeah.
And and if you want to be a sexy vampire and do a lot of math, I think Vampire the Masquerade is like have a great time. God bless you. That's not what I'm here for.
Yeah, I just like to me, I get the appeal of like dice pools and success-based systems and stuff, but it feels like, to me, it just feels like dice aren't a good vehicle for that. Like, it feels like you could almost use like some other technology, like, I don't know, like, I guess like a computer.
Small bones.
Yeah. Just read or draw lots, I guess. You could draw lots. But yeah, I tried to play Exalted one time. Exalted's like a more D&D highfalutin, like maybe Eastern inspired, anime inspired kind of system.
Okay.
Tried to play it one time, but it's very heavy. Like all the World of Darkness systems are so heavy into the lore. And that requires a lot of buy-in from players, because they don't just have to go like, oh, I get it, wizard, sword, etc. You have to like know what a sin number is. You have to like go like, here's what the Dragon Bloods are doing, and here's what the Scarlet Empress has thought of. And if the players don't like know that stuff, it just like none of it makes any sense what's happening, and they can't dig into the story.
Yeah, I see the appeal, and like if you can have that many people that are like that excited and invested and have like sorry and have like really enmesh themselves in the lore, that's great. You're gonna have a great time. But I feel like if it's so easy for like someone to be a little sleepy that night.
Yeah.
It might ruin your whole fucking game, because you need so much investment.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, obviously every group is different and stuff, but I think like as a general rule, the DM has the most investment by a factor of at least like 5 compared to other
maybe
people.
1,000.
Yeah, like so the idea that it's just like, and then he even just like, you will read the lore of the book once is like, no, that's not going to happen. They're not going to have read just the class entry once. Like that's not so like, and I would love, and so yeah, for me it was like I was imagining this dream, but the thing that's D&D for me is always imagining this dream and being like, oh, reality, geez, this is, man, not this is hard. And then it's a tough thing, but we're all figuring it out. But yeah. Oh boy, I'm spiraling. I am spiraling. And that means it's the perfect time to break into a segment real quick called What's Kevin's Deal? I don't think we have the music. Did we ever have music for this song?
Yeah, we have this one here.
What's Kevin's Deal?
Yeah.
I guess we did. Okay. So you know a lot about Kevin. He's in a hotel. He created the situation that the paradigm we exist in, et cetera. But it's hard to actually know what Kevin's deal is. And so we like to it's like 20 questions, but one question, basically. Okay. And we just guess what Kevin's deal is. I like to go first to kind of, explain how the game goes. And we do maybe 2 or 3 rounds. We do at least 1 round and then see how it feels. And hopefully by then I'm done spiraling and I could have better questions for you. So Kevin, is your deal that you're a hired hitman who works in secret and only takes jobs that are good for the public?
I don't think I could do that. Like, even if I thought I was legitimately only killing bad people, like, we just talked,
Death Note,
stuff like that. I still don't think I could do it. I don't know that my judgment of who a bad person is, I would feel confident enough to go ahead and do anything. So no, I'm not a hitman that only kills people who deserve it.
That's the difference between you and me, Kevin, is that I would know I was doing the right thing every time, which is why I must be stopped.
Well, I'm envious of that conviction you have.
Yeah, it's gotten me. Yes. Do you have any questions about the game, or do you think you're good to?
I think I know all I need to know.
Okay, perfect.
I think you've set the table really well.
Awesome.
Kevin.
Yes.
Is your deal that you are secretly Lester? And this is all a false flag operation to promote your fixins?
What an upset.
No, because I would have made that
You're saying no, but you're not making eye contact with the camera?
If I was Lester, I would be chugging that every few seconds. I just spilled that. That smells so bad now. No, if I was Lester, I would have told you where to buy it from. But I love the creativity of that, because I did sort of sound like an ad until I tried it.
I am honestly, I know more about Kevin than a lot of people, but now I'm thinking that this actually might be Kevin's deal. Like this a lot of things are lining up. Kevin sends me a bunch of terrible stuff as if he has some sort of deep investment in it. And I'm like, we don't like this, right? Like, it's not good. I don't think it's good for the show. I think it's better when we're doing tasty things that have depth of flavor that we can discuss, and not just like, yeah, this one tastes like cat vomit. This one tastes like dog vomit. Like, it's not, but it makes a lot of sense. We might have to dig into that. We might have to find out the real Lester. But okay.
Yeah, so, I think it's, maybe I'm the only one who feels this way and we should stop doing this, but I think it's more interesting when things go wrong. And I think it's more interesting when you don't like something. The reviews, like you watch a travel review blog or something like that, where they go to some city and they go to every restaurant and they love every bit of it. That's boring, because they can't love everything. Okay. Yeah. And when sometimes you get to sort of peel things back and see the truth of like them going, you know what, this sucked. This was terrible. That's when I'm loving it. Like I will go to hole in the wall restaurants, almost crossing my fingers that it's going to be terrible, because that's at least a better memory. And that's something to talk about. That's like, oh my God, I went to the worst place ever. That's more interesting to me, I think. But maybe I'm the only person who feels that way.
No, that's a very common stance, I think, but I don't like that. I just want everyone to have a good time. I've never watched Ted Lasso, but I'd imagine I'd like it because everyone seems to be having fun. Like I would love to watch a show where people just have a good time and there's not really much of a conflict and everybody's just happy. But I know I'm in the minority because I talk to people and they're like, "That's weird. You're weird."
And I think that's the later seasons of Ted Lasso.
Okay, yeah.
It's funny you mentioned Ted Lasso because I also bought the Ted Lasso energy drink at the same store that I bought this stuff from, that I am too afraid to open right now because it's a little late.
We might need to do a quick Patreon video for that maybe later. That could be good. But
create a new tier, and if one person signs up for that tier, I will review the Ted Lasso energy drink.
I do need to revamp the Patreon. That's a great idea, Kevin.
That's also a show that went off the air a year ago, so you might be tangling with some expiration date issues.
Just probably. Warning. I don't even know if this is licensed, to be honest with you. This feels like something that someone is just knocked off, oh, hey, let's put Ted Lasso on an energy drink kind of thing,
Yeah. Yeah. So okay. So have you been DMing before? Did you DM before? You know, podcast DMing? Is that
Yeah,
something you've done?
so to give a little backstory, as I was saying, and I had been doing I've been doing comedy in the city for a minute, and I had gotten to know a lot of the people, yeah, all of the people that I do Rude Tales of Magic and those Stars of Space with, um, and I had never played D&D, and in 2015, I started playing in a home game with uh, Carly Minardo, Christopher Hastings, Ali Fisher, and this other guy, Justin. Who, great guy. Yeah, and that game ran for a few years, and that was my first introduction to D&D. Um, and I really loved it. I had a lot of fun with it. We had a lot of fun in those home games, and um, I was having so much fun, and we weren't meeting regularly enough for my liking. So I said, so about a year in like 2016, I said, fuck it, I'm gonna start my own home game, separate from those fuckers. And I started DMing a game that with a bunch of my friends, including Branson. And both of those games ran concurrently for a couple of years. And then in 2018, um, uh, that original home game was wound down mostly because that guy Justin couldn't commit to play anymore. And then like a couple months after that, I saw Branson tweet like getting ready to DM my first home campaign. It's gonna be crazy. And I DM'd him in a fluke and was like, dude, you gotta let me play in this game if you're running it. And he was like, of course. And then I show up to the first session, and it's Carly Minardo and Christopher Hastings and Ali Fisher,
Yeah.
and Tim Platt, who I knew, but hadn't played. He hadn't played. He was the one I hadn't played D&D with before.
Mhm.
And that game was set in the world of Cordelia, which is, with the setting of Rude Tales of Magic, that would be specifically in the city of Piss Harbor. Um,
Oh,
and we met like 3 times. And after the third session, Branson emailed us and said, what do we think about making this a podcast? And in all that time, in that like 5 years of like playing D&D with exclusively other comedians and performers, it had never crossed my mind, frankly,
right.
to even try. But at the time, Tim had like a comedy fellowship at Kickstarter, and our former producer Taylor was the head of comedy at Kickstarter at the time. Um, and he sort of, uh, got to talking to Tim about it, and Tim mentioned, "Oh, I've got this game that's I'm playing D&D for the first time, and I'm in this game with these people." And within a month, we were recording the pilot episode of Rude Tales of Magic, and the rest is sort of history.
Yeah, that's awesome. What an awesome story.
Yeah.
We are basically out of time, but I gotta ask at least. Do you have any like not any tips or anything, but do you have any like lessons you've learned from DMing about DMing and this whole process that you think might be helpful for me? I mean, not for me, for the audience,
Yeah.
but for me. But just like anything like I don't know. Like the thing I always say is there's this book called The Lazy DM, and it just
Yeah.
blew my mind. It was so helpful for me. And
Yeah.
so I
Yeah.
like to pass that along. Is there anything kind of like that you found that's kind of helpful?
No, not a tool like that, but definitely my biggest pearl of wisdom is in that vein, which is like you have to prepare less than you think you do.
Mm-hmm.
When we, I had by the time we launched those Stars of Space, I had been DMing home games for 4 or 5 years at that point. I had reps under my belt. And I had been on a show. I knew like what it took to like to turn a tabletop role playing game into like a good podcast episode. But even still, the first like 5 or 6 episodes of those Stars of Space, I would write in like Word documents. I would have like maybe like 2,000 words of like notes and like narration prepped for like different paths and like different options and like everything just like mapped out to the nth degree because I wanted it to work. I wanted to be sure it worked.
Yes.
And now I'll write a page. I'll write a page, maybe less, Spencer. I'm pretty confident in what I'm doing and what's going to happen. And also, one of the things which I should caveat, which is different for like running a home game and running a using a role playing game as a tool to create a narrative audio podcast, is that I never have to deal with like player apathy. I know everyone is like on board to make the show and will be on board to like make the recording dynamic and interesting and fun. So in that regard, I really just have to, make sure the table is set for them to, lay down their potluck of delicious comedy dishes. But I don't have to like think of what is in every room on the derelict space station they're exploring. I know that we will improvise and discover funnier things than I could make up beforehand, sweating and hoping that it's going to be good.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. Like your comfort as performers is probably, giving a lot of confidence to go off of. And also just investment is such at home games, investment is such a tenuous thing, but
100%. And for that you do at least need to be ready to like not necessarily like, I don't want the analogy to be like a vaudeville like song and dance, but you do need to be able to like excite your table and like know what your table is looking for by being there. If they want a really crunchy all combat, session, that's totally valid. If you're a good DM and that's what all your players want, you should aim to service that. If they want really like earned and in-depth role play, like also valid. You should really like, you should strive for that if that's what your group wants,
Yeah. And that's, I guess, the importance of session 0, which is something I got to work out harder. But yeah, so I think that's about all the time we have. Thank you so much for coming on. Do you want to plug anything specific? I mean, we talked about, Rude Tales of Magic, but, just like however you want to, do that also.
Yeah, we Rude Tales of Magic. We're on the HeadGum Network. You can get us wherever you get your fine podcasts. Last year we wrapped up our first major campaign, which was 4 years running, 70 episodes. That's all there to download for free. Go check it out. We also just started our like next big campaign. It's called Nethermerc, and it's very like it's sort of in our version of the Underdark. It's very like it's got some flavor of like Saturday morning, like DuckTales or those kinds of like adventure shows, but also like dark and creepy and a lot more body horror than those shows usually served up. But yeah, that just started in August, so download the latest episodes and check that out because they're pretty killer and we've got some killer stuff coming. And then Those Stars of Space, which is pretty recently Patreon exclusive. So you can go to patreon.com/Those Stars of Space and for $5 join and download those. All of our old free episodes are still out there on all your podcatchers if you want to give it a try. But the new stuff is all behind Patreon.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much. And we will forego Kevin's usual plugs because they make me uncomfortable. Kevin just plugs my Patreon, and it makes me feel because here's the thing, he does Trop Home Video, and so like I'm like, and then he'll say what's coming up next on Trop, and then he won't say that. He'll just say to subscribe to me or whatever, and I don't like that. And so we like to end the show the same we do every time. So until next time, Kevin, we gotta talk, Kevin. We gotta talk after this.